Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical.
The US government used people as test subjects in their human experiments and got away with it for decades. The Montauk Project was one of these experiments that are still to this day a massive conspiracy. Was the US government really experimenting on people? And if so, why? Montauk is located in New York at the eastern tip of Long Island. Montauk was once a place for fishing communities, but now it's known as being home of the Hamptons. And when people think of the Hamptons, they often picture extreme wealth, massive houses, and beautiful beaches. But Montauk actually has a dark side that not many people know about. It all started from a secret military base known as Camp Hero. The Camp Hero Air Force Base was a place to defend the east coast of the United States during World War II. The most common way of defense in the Camp Hero Air Force Base was the use of these batteries. The cool thing was, these batteries contained cannons, and the cannons would defend Camp Hero from German ships and submarines.
Part of what they call the East Coast Defense Shield, basically keeping an eye on things and making sure that there were no surprises. Two huge batteries, they're about 600 feet long, and each of those two batteries contained two cannons. In the event there was any kind of an attack going on, they could communicate and go between these installations safely underground. They did fire the guns off now and then just for practice. The shock waves went all the way back to town, which is about 6 miles. There's some reports that say windows cracked.
In this interview, the caretaker who works at Camp Hero confirms the existence of underground tunnels that were used by the US military. The strange thing is, the US government denies any sort of secret underground tunnels that were used by the US military. Since the early 1980s, rumours regarding the Montauk Project have been circulating. This started to happen when the US denied the existence of underground tunnels. This was the main reason why most of these conspiracy theories started to happen, because many former employees claimed they have worked in these underground tunnels. Underground tunnels is not the only conspiracy theory out there. The most horrifying and disturbing conspiracy theory is the US government abducting children and using them for experiments. People that live in Montauk have reported local children going missing, and these group of children are known as the Montauk Boys. There is even a book known as the Montauk Project Experiments in Time. This book was published by Preston Nichols. The book spoke of teleportation, time travel, mind control experiments, alien technology, and child abductions. Preston Nichols used to be a radar technician at Camp Hero, and he claims he has worked on the Montauk experiments. Here is a video of Preston Nichols explaining the Montauk Project.
This is the receiver room at Preston's Space-Time Laboratories. This is where we can monitor the world from, in this room full of radio receivers.
This is the bunker where the Montauk Boys project was done. This is where the boys were actually stripped of their mind, and the mind was reformed through computers and reinserted in the body of the boy. The interesting thing to note here is this bunker had to be air conditioned, although it is essentially underground. It is about 55 degrees at all times. What this means is they had a large number of bodies in here creating heat. This tells us 100% that they had a heat source in this room here, in this group of rooms. Now, there was only a few people in here, as the military would normally have. Why do they need the air conditioning in summer? We can understand heat in the winter because you want to be warmer than 55. But in summer, this area still would be somewhat cold. So this suggests there was a heat source, which could be the number of bodies. Now we have the cage that the Montauk Boys were held in. You can see the doors to the end of this long corridor. We're now inside the cage. You'll see the tables where the Montauk Boys were held. They were held on these tables. They were somewhat out. They were not conscious. They were processed here. Most of the time they were stark naked. They were also held on these shelves over here to our right. This next office is the secretary for the alien. Across the way was the alien's office.
The US government has denied any research described in the book. Preston Nichols begins by saying that he wrote the book after recovering memories of his time as a researcher, and then he goes on to give an account detailing the interior facilities, its procedures, advanced technologies, and numerous paranormal incidents he claims to have witnessed. The biggest news that came out of Montauk was in July 2008, a strange creature washed up on the shore of Ditch Plains Beach at Montauk. This creature was called the Montauk Monster. What made things even stranger was the fact that near the beach there was an animal testing center that is located in Plum Island. This made conspiracy theories even worse, and people started to think, was their experiments going wrong? What many people do not know is the show Stranger Things on Netflix was originally called The Montauk. The original setting of Stranger Things took place in Montauk before it was moved to Hawkins, Indiana. The story of Stranger Things is very similar to the Montauk Project. So, what do you think? Is the US government really experimenting on people, or is it just a big conspiracy theory? Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you're new, please like and subscribe so that way you don't miss out on my content.